Okay, sir.
All right, let's do it. All right. So the title of it was, again, it looks like it was in 2018 that I wrote it. A simple prayer for not so simple times. Lord, do not protect me from darkness. Guide me through it. Lord, do not numb my pain or wipe my tears. Help me embrace it. Help me persevere. Lord, do not rid this life and this world of evil. Grant me the strength and the courage to fight it and to be good when all others choose not to be. Lord, show me who I must become in order to do what I must do. Guide me, help me, grant me, show me, and now let me. Let me walk through the darkness. Let me embrace my pain and persevere. Let me be strong and courageous and fight evil. Let me be good. Let me become who I must become so I can do what I must do. Lord, let me be what you intended me to be, a light, an inspiration, a warrior, a leader, and a follower, a savior. Lord, let me. That's the end of it.
Fucking Jesus, your mom sent you that right before you did what you did. This
Yeah.
is a movie,
Yeah,
man.
man. Yeah,
This is a
brother.
movie. That's
Yeah.
crazy timing, huh? Because it
Yeah.
happened. She sent it right before you did what you not right before one of the worlds you didn't hit what you didn't want to hit or whatever. The timing of that is crazy.
Yeah, man. That's why I'm saying, brother. Look, man, as I've gotten older, I've come to peace with my shortcomings and my failures. And I haven't seen them as failures. I've seen them as pieces of my testimony. I don't give a fuck about a story where everything was sunshine and rainbows. I never gravitated towards that. I always loved the story of the knight who went to go fight the dragon to go get the treasure that was in that cave, that was in that dungeon. That's the story. Sometimes the knight won, sometimes the knight didn't. A lot of times there was bloodshed. A lot of times there was pain. All the time it was dark. A lot of times there was heat. And yet a mortal man would persevere against one of the greatest, most dangerous, vicious giants in all of mythology, right? That's what drew me to that story. I want that story. The caveat is when you want that story and you get that story, you got to fight a lot of dragons, man. And
Yeah.
sometimes you don't win. But again, the beautiful part of it, if you're lucky, you'll get to choose to keep going. So long as you are not dead, so long as there is air in your lungs, you can keep going. And that's what I tell myself. So you just take it on the chin, you keep going, no matter what happens. But yeah, it is extremely coincidental that well, I don't believe it's a coincidence, but it is extremely
I know.
coincidental that that my mother had sent that my way. Uh yeah, before this competition.
Dude, so a couple things. I agree 100%. Those type of stories I gravitate towards too as well. Like same conversation, and this is going to snowball into another conversation what I had with you, but and it was like I would love to just be the Mike Tyson of my era or the Russell Orhe of my era. He said, where I just win. I want to steamroll these guys, and I want to be that dominant figure. And I'm like, that's not your path, though, my friend. And it makes you more endearing that you're not. You can't all be the Mike Tyson of your eras. You, everyone loves you. You take an L and you're vulnerable. And when you go on that platform, I don't know if he's going to make it. And all your supporters don't know. So when you make it, it's like, holy shit. Like Lane Norton telling me, I think I might have an anxiety attack. This is crazy. Holy shit, is it going to happen? The 5 minute overturn, we've seen it go you're not way so many times. The story's better so that when we get to the finish line and you drop to your knees, we're there with you. We get it. I was telling that to Penna. So, anyways, at the World Championships, the Russell or he was the Mike Tyson of our era, finally came to an end. He was winning by 20 kilos after Brett Gibbs. Brett Gibbs and
Yep.
him were neck and neck. And then after Brett left, it seemed to be Russell year after year after year, being the number one guy by a decent spread, it would seem. And then at the World Championships, he finally lost. And in terms of doing every single thing you could do year after year when you're winning by 20 kilo spreads, he would show up injured sometimes. Not full on injured, but not 100%. 100% for sure, not 100%. Still win by a decent margin on bad days. Can't help, but after a while, he's training. No question he trained. But to the same extent with hunger that you or Penna, I don't know. Only he knows deep down in his heart. Was he like the guy who was still climbing the mountain? Like, I haven't achieved it. When it's, I could show, when he found out I could show up, I'm not 100, and he still won by 20 kilos. And you do that every year for half a decade. Only he knows. I'm sure he was training. I'm sure he's pushing, but it's the margins. You told me one time you were in football training, and even as a kid, the coach is watching you run around the field, run the laps. And he said X amount of laps. And the coach is watching and watching and watching. And every now and then he's facing one way and you're on the other side, and you could see a little bit of cutting of corners by some of the kids as the laps gone by. And you said, I'm not cutting that corner. His back is to me. It's the 10th lap. I'm not cutting the corner. I'm not going to do that. But you could see other kids were. It didn't fucking mean anything, though, did it? What did it do to their overall endurance? Maybe nothing. But when you show up on game day, you knew you didn't cut any corners. And I don't know what's going to happen, what the deal is with Russ after years of just steamrolling people. But what's going to happen at Sheffield when he got checked like he did in the world was watching? And everybody cheered. And it wasn't, Russ was saying like he had to like break this apart. What was that? Was it against me? Was it the whole US sweep talk? Was it what was that? Was it just like there's a sports upset and people are excited, or a cluster of all of it? Whatever it was. And a guy like you're like, it doesn't matter what it was. What it just I fell short and I got to make adjustments. But the moment that was in sports and a potential for Russ to recalibrate and really check himself and get hungry again. My friend, how bad do you want this? Because Jurens wanted that. Jurens was and is 100% dialed in and hungry. It's going to be exciting to see. It's going to be exciting to see. I don't by no means am overlooking Jurens, obviously, but these checks every now and then they're coming.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And every athlete, look, you stick around long enough, you should experience that because at one point you were that for somebody else. So you'd be
Mm.
naive to believe that it's not going to happen to you, that you're infallible. And I'm not saying that this is, Russ's mindset at all. I'm just saying in general, of course, this is sports, man. This is how and records were made to be broken. Again, it's not it's just a metric and it's fragile. It's not about that. So it's just the spirit of pushing the boundaries as hard as you can. And that's what creates your legacy. That creates your story. Dude, I cannot remember who won the 93 World Championship 3 or 4 years ago. No clue. My own weight class. Forget about all the other weight classes. Absolutely no clue. Do you think and I'm in it. Do you think anyone else has a better memory than me that they're going to remember all the next, 10, 20 years of champion? It's not like that. It's about who they were. Who did they inspire? What was their story? What was their testimony? What did they fight through? Right. And that's the beauty of it. That's the power of it. So that's what I'm open to it, man. I totally welcome that adversity because not only is that an opportunity for me to get better, but it's an opportunity for my story to get richer, for people to relate to it, for people to buy in. Because, bro, yeah, I am naturally a very ambitious, driven child, 100%. But I have been inspired too by champions. And guess what? Their journey is what inspired me. Their story is what taught me. So don't you think it matters? Who gives a shit if you won 7 Olympias? It's the fact that you emigrated from Austria, couldn't speak a lick of English, had no fucking money. Not only were you training twice a day, 3 to 4 hour sessions, but you were taking English lessons and going to college, university, right? And then also working bricklaying company to the point where then eventually this guy owned the bricklaying company, this construction company, started hiring his fellow bodybuilders. He's winning championships. He's getting there, right? He's making his way, and then goes into acting. Everybody says, "Oh no, it's not possible. Nobody wants you. You're too big. Your accent sucks. Also, it's too thick." Becomes one of the highest paid Hollywood actors in history for his time. I mean, we all know who I'm talking about, right? So that's Arnold is one of the people who has inspired me, right? So I look at his story and I'm like, it's not the fact that he won X number of Olympias. That's not it. It's not the fact that he has money. There's a lot of people who have money. It's not even the fact that he was a governor. There's been a lot of governors. It's not about that. It's the story. It's what did he build? What did he go through? Who did he become? Right? Now, I'm not saying he's perfect, but you get the point. It's the story. That's what creates the buy-in. Mike Tyson is who he is because of his story. He wasn't just some talented knockout artist. I believe Mike Tyson has a more inspiring story than Floyd Mayweather. And we all know why. Look at what he came from. Look at what he went through. And you can see that reflected in his life at the time when he was a champion. He was not a good person outside of the ring. It makes sense, right? So these are stories. This is the inspiration. This is the legacy. That's what it's building. So, like let's take Russ's situation right now. This has got to be, if I were him, man, I mean, I would be so fucking grateful for this. You know how boring it would be to just come back and win worlds? Like, what does that prove to me? Nothing, right? Because he's already done it. He's already been the best. Okay, so this is so fucking amazing because this is the first time in a long time he's had real adversity with a real at least powerlifting related, with a real opportunity to sharpen. If you're a real champion and if you're a real bad motherfucker, guess what you look for? Other bad motherfuckers. Because yo, I may not make it out of this. So sure as hell, I'm going to give this my everything. And no matter what, I'm going to get better from it. Miyamoto Musashi, I mean, one of the greatest swordsmen to ever live. What did he do? He sought out the greatest swordsman to ever live to see just how great he was. That's what a real champion does. He tests his mettle. Why? And this is the truth. How do I know? I mean, we see it. This is real time. Iron sharpens iron as one man sharpens another. I mean, that comes from the Bible. It's another way I know it's the truth. But you see what I'm saying? This is it. I know it for myself. Look at our world records back to back to back to back for the 93s. It's not even yearly anymore, bro. It's freaking quarterly. I mean, it's nuts, right? Why? Because iron sharpens iron. And so this is an opportunity for us. And I do believe, like, look, Russ did not get to where he is by being weak of mind, weak of spirit, and weak as an athlete. He got here because he's strong in all of those areas. I'm not trying to gas him up or anything like that. I'm acknowledging it. It's just the respect I have for what he's done. So it's an opportunity for him. It's an opportunity for Penna. Gustav, it's an opportunity for him. Emil, it's an opportunity for him. There are no guarantees. Winning doesn't owe you anything. It doesn't give a fuck what color you are, how much money you make, how strong you are. It really does not matter. It doesn't. That's why the winning itself doesn't matter. You had done an interview with me and another athlete, the first Sheffield, and you had asked me, "What does this mean to you?" And my response was, winning Sheffield means nothing, and I meant that because it wasn't about winning. I didn't give a fuck. I wanted to put the most amount of weight on my motherfucking back, squat down, and squat the fuck back up. Let's see what I'm made of. Let's see just how much I could push my body, break my fucking bones. I want to see what the fuck I'm made of. That's what drives me, bro. I mean, I'm getting chills right now talking like that. 901, what is that? It's a number. Who gives a fuck? I don't care. It's a number. Powerlifting itself. I mean, okay, rules, great. Referees, judges. It's not about that. It's the strength. What is strength? It's this fucking maximum force expression. It's an immovable object meets an unstoppable force. That's what that is, bro. That's strength. That's power. That's powerlifting. That's what that is for me. So all of these things are opportunities to test that. It just happens to be on a stage in front of over 2,500 people. That's great. But guess what? There was a time when I was doing this alone in my basement with no audience, no money, and no cameras. So for me, it's the love for that. It's let's just see how fucking hard I can push myself. How much can I bleed? How much can I bend before I break? And that's what it is, man. That's what drives me. That's what makes me feel alive. So, I believe that a lot of us feel that way and we think that way, and I'm confident, that whether it's Russ, whether it's any of these champions, I believe not only do they have the potential, of course they have the potential, they have the ability. They've proven they have the ability. It's not about the ability. It's in here. It's the mind, you know. And the hunger is, I mean, you can be hungry. That's fine, but it doesn't really matter how you feel. It's just, are you going to do the work? Like, just do it and just get it done. Do or do not. There is no try. That was a big mantra for me for this prep. There's just it can be very, very black and white. It does not need to be all emotional. It's like, okay, so 341 is loaded on the bar. Go do it. That's it. There's no need to think about it. Like it's just okay. We're gonna go do it. So I think a lot of us do think that way.
Couple things. So first off, with the Arnold Schwarzenegger, um, when he first got to America, he was from Austria to Germany, got to America. They were asking him his name, and one of the movie producers was like, "My friend Schwarzenegger." I couldn't even spell it. He's like, "I'm having a hard time saying it. You need to change your last name. Nobody's going to be able to say your last name, and nobody's going to be able to. No one's going to remember your last name." And Arnold recalls this story and said, "Nobody now will ever forget my last name worldwide." It's a
Oh yeah,
it's a crazy story, but it's true, right? He's like, "Who's laughing now?" Everybody,
yeah,
you hear Schwarzenegger, you know exactly who the fuck that is, huh? I got
yeah,
statues all over the world like I'm a freaking Greek pharaoh, for God's sake. But festivals to, to celebrate me. It's wild. And in terms of Russ and that whole situation, like the mindset of it, I think it is an opportunity, a defining moment that people like you guys, you look for these moments. And people who are weaker men and women shy from these moments. But if you see it in the way you positioned it, it's an opportunity. It's an up. This is good. This is better than good, and it's an opportunity to test yourself under adversity and see how far out you can go. And now you put all the gas in it. I'm interested. I think it's can't miss. Jones versus Russ. Once again, I was going to say two, but of course, like 2018, they were clashing. But just Jones wasn't in the conversation. I was looking that way. Um, it's one of the best matchups. I don't even know how this is going to unfold, but I'm super intrigued to see how it goes. And the biggest thing when I talk to these gentlemen, I haven't talked. I've talked to Russ, but not on the podcast yet. I'll have him on, but talk to him in person. Well, actually, no, that's not true. Had him on the podcast like literally the next day. I'm asked. I told Jurgens, I think at this point you're the favorite, right? Jurgens said, no, 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 no. I'm not the favorite. Russ is the favorite. Excuse me. You just beat Russ head to head and you're the reigning world champion. It's interesting to hear that. Not the world champion. But some people want that hunger mindset and want to stay in it when you're an athlete. So I respect it. Um, and you see different people operate differently. And it's how you deal with the situation you're in. And not all of us are going to be able to appreciate the situation they're in. I want to play this clip from Mike Tyson. Now, Mike Tyson's talking about, and this is something that all of you guys are going to face and ladies are going to face at the top end because everybody's watching. Is the fear of failure and just that fear everybody's watching, and you're going to let everybody down. Let yourself down, let your believers down, the people who love you down, whoever down. And the more pressure cooker, the hotter the kitchen, the bigger the audience, the more pressure it is. And Mike Tyson speaks on this. And I'll pull this clip up right now. All right.
Fear is my friend. I love fear. Fear allows me to reach my highest potential. The fear of failing is an illusion. Fear is an illusion, but we have to have desire. We have to have something that pushes us. Fear pushes us. We don't understand that living prepares us for death. Our life, it prepares us for death. You know, even if we die young, it prepares us. When you don't have that feeling no more, it's over. When you don't get that fear no more, it's over. I'm a fucking student of war. I know all the warriors from Charlemagne, Achilles, the #1 warrior of all warriors. From then Alexander, Napoleon, I know them all. I read them all, I studied them all. I know the art of fight, I know the art of war. That's all I ever studied. That's why I'm so feared. That's why they feared me when I was in the ring. Because I was an annihilator. That's all I was born for. And now those days are gone. It's empty. I'm nothing. I'm working on being the art of humbleness. Can you be with me? That's the reason why I'm crying, because I'm not that person no more. And I miss them. Because sometimes I feel like a bitch. Because I don't want that person to come out, because if he comes out, hell is coming with him.
Interesting stuff there. Couple things he was saying. Fear, he was always full of fear and it drove him. And not only did it drive him, but he at a young age he realized his opponents were afraid. So he became the epitome of their fears. And when he came in there, everyone feared him and he was the annihilator. And that mentality he had was so dominant when he was young that later on in life, he was afraid to open that door again and let that guy back out. Because he was, I mean, he was what he was in the 80s, like you had mentioned in the early 90s. But it's interesting how people react to fear and how it can be, Mike Tyson once alluded to, it's like fire. With fire is like fear. It can warm your house, it could cook your food, or it could set your fucking house on fire if you're not careful. Don't go too far into your head and let it run you. Russ, to your point earlier, Russ has been on this podcast saying when I was going against Brett, I remember going to the gym and refusing to leave. I remember waking up, being like, I got to get the fuck to the gym. What is he doing right now? He was at the gym and he's like, you're doing accessories. I didn't skip accessories, but when Brett was there, I was fucking smashing that like it was my job, like it was a squat. It wasn't just an also ran situation. But the fear was there. It's like, God, Brett Gibbs is coming. That's Brett Gibbs. And he's like, I early there, laid out, and just would go home and I'm thinking about it. I couldn't stop thinking about it. And it drove him. It drives you almost insane. Conor McGregor said this game is mad, and I feel like there are times I've almost lost my mind at times. I just can't stop thinking about it. Fear, though. And of course, there's a time when later on in life, you're a retired old warrior, so to speak, and whatever you end up going in, and God knows where you're going to be, Gavin. I've had people DM me after every podcast like, this motherfucker's going to be in Hollywood. He's going to be in, I don't know. I got so many crazy people. Like, I don't know what, remember Joe Jordan? The 66 was on here and he's like, I don't know what Gavin's going to end up doing, but he's going to end up in something big at some point. He's like, he listened to podcasts. He's like, what the shit? This guy is not going to be just where he's at right now. And we could talk about that as well. But yeah, doubling back to your point about fear, and that could be a driver, but also looking forward, how do you think you would like your mentality where you're at now and the satiation you get from having those massive highs, like the 901 at North Americans and falling to your feet, and then afterwards, what does this look like afterwards? You got Mike Tyson who it's different, but he's almost afraid to unlock that monster at times.
Yeah. I think, well, so firstly, in terms of the first part of that question, it sounds really fucked up, but it's done. It's over. It's gone. It's a new day. So whether I won, lost, hit 900, didn't, um, Tomorrow is day one, period. And that's a skill that I've developed since losing in South Africa, because that really, it didn't break me, but it definitely pushed me past my comfort zone when it comes to handling defeat. Because again, I truly do mean this when I say I really did try really hard to win. I gave everything. I mean, everything from the traveling. I mean, there's so much that went into that, so much suffering I had to endure. And again, to still fall that short when I had felt like, man, what more do I have to give? But then, dude, after that, how many more times did that happen? I'd get so fucking close and then have it stripped from me, literally. Get so close, still not enough. So close, nope, not this time. So when that happens over and over again, you have a choice. Either you can just wallow in self-pity, or you can say, you know what, fuck it, let's keep moving. In fact, not only am I going to keep moving, fuck you, I'm going to come at you even harder. I'm going to believe in myself even more. I'm going to grind that much greater. And that's kind of just been my mentality. And it's become so much easier to just take it on the chin. Like I remember the feeling for the first Sheffield, when they protested the squat and it was overturned. I remember sitting there thinking like, cannot believe, I cannot believe I got this close. I got this close. This was it. This was my moment. And it was taken from me. I did everything right. And Lord knows, had I gotten that squat, I might have actually won the whole fucking thing that year. Not only that, I ended up placing third, right? Despite missing a big third squat, let that mean something. But I'm sitting there and I'm thinking to myself, you gotta be fucking kidding me. What more? This was the statement. What more can I give? I don't have anything more to give. After that moment, I got angry. And some people can call it fear. You can call it whatever you want. It all stems from this core of there's a dissonance between who and where you think you should be versus where you actually are in the present. There's a dissonance. There's a gap. And that gap, that's where the core of that emotion comes from, right? Your job, your internal belief, your core, the whole essence is to match who you are in the present to who you should be, where you are in the present to where you believe you should be, right? So when there is dissonance, that's a very uncomfortable feeling. And when there's always dissonance, it's a very uncomfortable feeling. So for me, that was absolutely fuel. But not only that, it was a skill. It was literally a skill that I was able to develop where it was like, okay, what's next? Good. Take it on the chin, keep going. You're going to have to try a little bit harder, motherfucker, because I'm going to keep running through your face. You don't have to like me. I still respect you, believe it or not. No matter what you say about me, no matter how many times you may make a decision that goes against the rules that I feel is disrespectful, that I feel is unjust, no matter what happens, I will still honor and respect you. Fine. That's what I'm called to do. It's hard to do. I'm getting better at it. I will do that. But just know I'm still going to come at you 110% every fucking time. Every time. Period. Because to me, what's the alternative? If you're not going all in, what is the alternative? If I'm going all in and still falling short, what do I think the outcome's going to be when I don't go all in? Right. So all in is the bare minimum. And yeah, so I've gotten really good at just taking those things on the chin. So going into this competition, that was the mindset too, man. It really wasn't about the outcome. I didn't, yeah, I had a goal, but I was confident in the goal, but my emotion was detached. It wasn't like, oh my God, I really want this. I can't wait to hit this. It was like, I'm gonna go total over 900. Like this is what I'm gonna do. The emotion is applied in the intensity. So, having done it, it's done, dude. It's over. Who cares? It's done. Again, had we missed, had that third squat not been overturned, the conversation would be the same. Yep, didn't get it. It is what it is. Does that change tomorrow? No, it's right back to work. And this process is the same as well. What did we do well? What didn't we do well? How can we change the inputs to change our outputs? That's it. That's the conversation. It's got to be. It's that simple. So nothing really would change for me. I don't feel like I said, man. I'm so detached from like titles, from the money, from the numbers, all of it. For me, it genuinely is about just giving everything. That's what drives me. That's where I get my umph. It's this idea of let me just see how far I can go. That's why to me it's easier to take the risks of going, 341 on the second. Most people, this is what I would guess, most people would say, why don't you chip the world record squat on the second? Right? Then you can go take whatever.
100%.
Okay, I hear you, but that's not me. Sorry. So that's it. Right? But I'm comfortable taking those risks because I'm doing it for a different reason. I'm walking a different path. That's just the fact. That's just what it is. I can't change that about me, and I don't want to. So yeah, it doesn't mean anything, honestly. I put that in my caption. It really that it doesn't matter, and I meant it. It doesn't matter because the paradox of greatness, the irony of it, is that greatness is all about the obscurity. It's all about the mundane. It's all about the unimportant. It's all about the stuff that nobody else would really see. The stuff that seems like this is what it is. Yeah, that's where greatness is built. That's where greatness is created. So that's all. That's where I live. I live in that. So, again, man, it just it doesn't change anything. The other aspect to it, I will say, is I see myself holistically. So some people may say, wow, dude, you hit 901. I say, yeah, but I didn't hit 923. Wow, dude, you hit 901, you broke the squat world record. Yeah, but I had to rely on a jury to overturn it. Oh, wow, but this is great. It's a world record, it's whatever. Yeah, but I'm still not an open world champion. Do you see how for every single statement I have a rebuttal? So,
Mm.
and it goes both ways. So again, when you really think about it, it all equates and it's all bullshit. It's all nonsense. It's all noise. It's all just a distraction. What matters, where do we go next? Let's go there next. And that's it. That's all I need to think about is what's next. And when you're driven by this idea of how far you can go, you don't really like there's no such thing as reaching the top of the hill. It doesn't exist.
Is there points when you can be like, here's what Michael Jordan once said: you think you want to be me, but you don't, because I'm never satisfied. I don't stop to smell the roses. And huge chunks of my life went by because I never did. And he's like, but because I never did, I never took my foot off the gas and did what I did.
Mhm.
But is there satisfaction from it? Is there, you know,
No, no satisfaction whatsoever. But you do have like a sense of accomplishment or like a sense of like, okay, cool, that worked. So I got it right here, you know. Again, in my particular instance, I do feel like this was a gift for me. Yes, 100%. Do I have the strength for everything? Yes, absolutely. I mean, you could see it in the videos, right? But again, you can always make the case. Oh, well, it wasn't a world championship, or oh, it wasn't, so you could get into all that nitty gritty if you wanted to. In the grand scheme of things, what's there to be satisfied with? Is it the outcome that you're satisfied with? No. If there's satisfaction, it comes from the work. It's like, wow, I put in that work. I know I didn't cut that corner. I know I didn't. That's what makes me proud. But I don't get too proud, right? Because the idea is if I get too proud, now I think I'm ahead. Now I think I'm better. And I'm not. There's a reason why pride is a sin, right? Because that there is a pride comes before the what? The fall. So I'm gonna try and avoid that. You avoid that by not necessarily, it's not that you can't be satisfied, but you have to have some humility. And I believe humility is you take things through a filter. You don't believe the hype. You don't believe the noise, whether it's good or bad. When the highs are high, you're here. And when the lows are low, you're here. It's all good, man. We keep going. Yep, that was great. I'm glad that we finally accomplished what we did. This might set us up well in the future. Perfect. What's next? Let's do it. That's kind of the attitude, you know? Um,
mm,
so yeah, I mean, I definitely pause and I say to myself, like, wow, like I'm really grateful that I did this. But and this is gonna sound really cocky, but I knew this was gonna happen. I knew this was gonna come. I knew this was gonna come, dude. When I was actually just told this story to a friend of mine. We went to lunch because he had helped out in the warm room. His name is Luke Graham. He's been powerlifting for a really long time. He's in the service, and he took the day off to come. He lives in Arizona. He came in the warm room, so we went to lunch, and I had told him the story because he was saying it's actually really cool that you and I have this relationship. Because I told him I was going to be on the podcast tonight, and the reason why it's funny is because when I first before I ever did a meet nothing, he was one of the first people who I had met in college who I told like about powerlifting and about like my goals in powerlifting. And at that time he was like a teenage national champion and stuff. So he was the guy, and I was like some fucking chump who thought he could be something, right? So it's funny to see how things have developed. And so I told him the story of like, I will never forget the nights when it was cold and it was rainy and it was after school and it was late and I didn't want to train and I knew my session was going to take me 4 fucking hours. And I pulled up to the gym and I'm walking to the gym and what do I see when I open up my Instagram and I go to King of the Lifts? And at that time, I didn't even know you. I was never on the podcast. And I see top 5 lifters and it's Ashton Ruska and it's this guy and this guy and this guy. And my name's not fucking there. That pissed me off so much. And my thought process wasn't like, oh man, like must be nice. My thought process was that is going to be me. I will be on that fucking list. I know I will. I know I will. I believe it in my bones. Just as I know the sun will rise tomorrow, I know I will be a champion in every sense of the word. And that's how I would go into training. I would go into training with that mindset every day, compound that over days and days and days, years and years and years. And here we are. And this is just a blip in time, dude. This is not like, oh my gosh, look, it all paid off. The best is yet to come. I truly believe that. Yeah, there'll be more falls, absolutely. But with each fall, it's an opportunity for me to rise back up and do even better. So yeah, there's a moment where you start to say to yourself, like, wow, like, here we are. This is great. But then that's it. Keep it moving. You just keep going, one step in front of the other. And I think that the satisfaction is the wrong word. Like I said, if there's any satisfaction, it comes from the work. It comes from the work.
What does your future look like? Is it in terms of, first off, powerlifting, winning a world title, Sheffield, etc. And with everything you just said, how do you think you anticipate you'll feel after doing that? And then also, you've talked to great lengths where we got the Olympics going on right now about how you want to be an Olympic athlete. I don't know if that's still a goal in the future or whatnot. And obviously, movies and like, man, like the world's your oyster, it feels like.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly how I feel. Yeah, I mean, well, so first and foremost, in terms of like the Olympic stuff, yeah, I mean, I tell this to my girlfriend all the time, to my family, and certainly to myself. I just feel like it's just never enough. Like what I'm doing right now isn't enough. I'm meant for more. Like as soon as I hit that 901, I was just having this conversation late last night. And I'm just kind of down, and my girlfriend asked me like, "Well, what's up? What's wrong? Like you just look what you just did." I said, "Did what? What changed? What in my life changed? Nothing has changed. Nothing. Just a number on open powerlifting. That's it. What the fuck changed? I'm meant for more. I genuinely feel it. I'm meant for more, and it pisses me off. It really does. So when we talk about the Olympics, when we talk about what's next, it's like in my mind, it's just like, what can I choose to do that would fulfill that would fill that hole, that would fill that gap of I'm meant for more. I know I am. This can't be all. This can't be it. There has to be more for me. That's how I feel. So I'm constantly searching for that. I mean, what I will say is in the near future, of course, I really don't know what kind of opportunities my performance will open up. If any opportunities at all, I know that I want to be the greatest in the world. I want to win the 93s and I want to win the 83s. I want to be a two-weight class champion.
Oh
Absolutely. Um,
shit.
yeah, I think
Lane
that's
Norton.
yeah, right. I think that's I know
Lane's gonna
we've been
hear this
talking about that.
podcast and be like, holy shit.
I know, I know. But we have talked about it. But I did kind of say too on my that YouTube video, for the NAPF YouTube video, I had said that, if I do what I came here to do at NAPFs, if I were to get that a wildcard invite to Sheffield, I would absolutely consider cutting down to 83 and compete at 83 at Sheffield. And I'm still 100% entertaining that. The only reason why I'm not like all in on that now, given this performance, if again the wild card was even an option, is simply because I didn't total 923. I totaled 901, which isn't far enough over the 93 record for me to solidify myself as the undisputed greatest 93. Because again, in my opinion, I would need to total like 930 at 90 kilos to be the best undisputed of all fucking time. Best 90, 93, period, in my opinion. So that has to get done. But whichever one comes first, I mean, I don't know. We'll see what makes the most sense. We still have to be kind of strategic about it. Again, I really don't know what opportunities lie ahead, man. I mean, I haven't really been told anything. I really don't know. I don't know how much the community values, what I've done. I appreciate all the love and the support that I've been getting from it. But yeah, I mean, we'll have to see, man. I'm definitely excited for the future. If nothing else, I know my name gets submitted, I believe, for the World Games as an alternate. Um,
That'd be
you
awesome.
know, Yeah, I mean, all the slots are full. Somebody would kind of have to drop out, but of course, I would do that.
God willing.
Um, yeah, 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 yeah. God willing, and you
Somebody
know,
blows a
um,
hammy.
I know, I
Come
know
on,
that would be
man.
terrible, but fuck. But yeah, I mean, of course, it would be incredible to perform at 2025 Sheffield. So, I'm open to really any and all opportunity. But at the very least, we know that nationals will be in 2025, and we'll go to nationals. So, but yeah, in terms of powerlifting, though, that's definitely my goal is to, of course, would be to win Sheffield, absolutely, but really become a two-weight class champion.
Dropping to 83. Is this the confidence that the Lane Norton cut has given you? Like everything worked so well, you were underweight and still performed like nine. You don't need over 900 kilos, or do you? Like Joey B's hit 865. That's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
incredible at
Yeah,
21.
super strong kid. Yeah, yeah, super strong kid. Yeah, man. I mean, so I've been saying that I could cut down to 83 and still be strong since way before even missing weight at nationals. I think on the scale, as I was missing weight, I said, "Oh, I could definitely cut to 83 and still be strong."
Still could do it. Still could do
Yep.
it.
Um, but yeah, no, I definitely do believe it's possible. I mean, I'm not dumb. Like I understand. I have thought about it and have really like I have calculated it. I mean, look, just off the bat, in terms of my build, I'm 5'5" on a good day, man. So, it's not like I'm freaking 5% body fat. So although I'm leaner because I have a lot of muscle tissue and I wear my muscle tissue well. So that's just the truth of it. Um, so I definitely have a lot of room uh, to lose weight, to lose fat, especially. And if I had the time to do it, and my lifestyle allowed it, I could absolutely get it done. And if nothing else, I definitely do believe I could retain the strength. So, and I 100% believe I would want to hit, I've said that in the video, I'd want to hit 900 at 83. So, um, yeah, I mean, I think it's 100% possible. Absolutely. And like I said, the only thing that would keep me interested in the sport is if I had a greater challenge. If I were to, win, let's say Sheffield and win 93's open worlds, like why even powerlift anymore? Because again, I'm not in it for powerlifting. I'm in it to be the strongest I can be and just train really hard and push myself, right? Um, I don't need the sport to do that really. So the next big challenge would be, okay, you think you're strong, let's do that in a weight class below. Most people just eat up, but let's do it the hard way. Let's cut down and let's not only retain our strength, but let's get stronger and absolutely dominate that class. Right. So that's how I see it. I think that would probably solidify my legacy.
Be the first 93 to cross 900, and you'd be the first in God knows if only or how long it'd be for someone to do 900 at 83 and 93. That'd be crazy.
Yeah.
Nobody's obviously
Totally,
done that.
totally possible. Yeah, totally
Totally
possible.
possible. That's all. The cards are on the table.
Yeah.
It's you're starting to align yourself in that direction. Listen, man, we crushed 3 hours. It's 2:15 in the morning over here.
Jesus.
Dog, it was late, but it was a good one. I knew when we were talking, it was like, do we wait till next weekend? I'm like, God, the heat on you right now. Let's hit this right now. Well, it's
I
fresh.
know.
It's fresh for you. You know how many people when your performance is happening and like I'm spamming King of List followers with like in the stories, and you got like 3 posts in that day, and people's response to all of these DMs are like, we know he's coming on. When is it dropping? Monday? Monday.
Yeah.
And you know how many Mondays I got with a question mark? Monday? And I don't know. I don't always drop Monday, but people are like, you're gonna fucking have a Gavin on this weekend. We know you got to. And I
Yeah.
told a couple of them, I replied to him like, I don't know, man. He's not home. Maybe next weekend. And they're like, what?
No,
They're
no, 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 dude. We're
like,
still we're st we're still working, man. You don't get to just take
that's
off just because you
right.
had a good day. It don't work like
Part of the
that.
work, baby. This is part of the legacy, man. We got to give the people what they want.
That's
But
right.
and the
That's
one
right.
kid actually tagged and was like, "Come on, let's make this happen." But
Yeah,
dude,
yeah, yeah.
I appreciate 3 fucking hours. You're still celebrating. You're out and about with the family and friends and doing your thing. I appreciate you, man. Super duper proud. Like I, I was, I was crazy proud, and I watched you drop to your knees after the last deadlift. And dog is you did it all this time. You know, you wanted to establish. I know there's more work to be done, but you just wanted to be number one. And we're here. You're leading the pack right now. You're the number 193 in the world. You're the number 193 in history. And let's see what happens.
Doesn't
From
feel real, brother.
Nats to Worlds, it's been
Yeah,
a freaking crazy ride already. It's been nothing but bonkers already. I can only guess what the next few years, dude. I said before, like, since you came in my life, holy shit, dude. It's been wild.
that's right,
We've
baby.
been on we've been on
See,
some
that's the
adventures.
thing, man. People
It's
may not
not
like it,
dull.
but we bring the storm. You know what I'm saying? We bring the
Bring the
storm.
storm, man. Hasn't been dull. Hasn't been dull, that's for sure. But all right, man. Thank you for coming on the podcast. 3 hours deep. I'll let you get back into it. We're gonna talk in DMs, and this will drop on Monday. So we'll
Absolutely.
talk
Let's do
soon,
it.
my man. Enjoy it. Everybody listening, as per usual, please do subscribe, give us high ratings, and until next time, six pack lap it at 6 up, and we are out.